Technology. From all the way back in the 1930s to all the way in current year, technology has always been a part of human life, from the very beginning of society. In my time in this world, I've experienced a good variety of technology, from things like USB cables to HDMI cables. But that does not cover the entire span of technology that we have had to experience in the last few years. Technology is wide and varying and covers a bunch of different aspects and fields, from audio to visual to network-based. To start off, we'll look at the networks and how they evolved throughout time. Network-based technology allows people to connect with each other from varying distances, whether it's sitting right next to somebody on your couch using a connection like Bluetooth, or connecting someone from across the world using an invention like the World Wide Web. The first technology that I'll be covering are Ethernet cables. Cables which, if connected to the right device, whether a computer or a printer, can allow them to connect to a home network, which increases their speed compared to if they were connected to a network wirelessly. Ethernet cables were first invented in 1976 and were then implemented into many different technologies as the years went by. I personally use Ethernet cables for my computer, so that way I can have a reliable connection whenever Wi-Fi is inconsistent. The same can be applied to my online gaming experiences. One of the other technologies that we have to cover are VGA cables. Invented in 1987, VGA cables were the standard for video formats on computers, projectors, and other devices. VGA cables were first common to be used for connecting printers, or VGA cables were commonly used to connect computers to projectors, so that way teachers, business people, and other folks would use them to present important information to large groups of people. Nowadays, VGA cables are rarely seen, replaced by their more optimal HDMI counterparts. I, however, still manage to use my VGA cable from time to time, as I use different sources of audio and don't want to have an HDMI take both my video and audio at the same time, which is where VGA cables are actually quite beneficial, as they only send video where you can connect audio elsewhere. Now, as time progresses, devices began to become more universal in their application. There would be one format for technology that could be used in a variety of different systems, and one of those devices are the famous Universal Serial Bus, or the USB device. USBs were invented in the year 1996 and have been used to connect many devices to many other devices, whether it's phone chargers to computers, computers to other computers, or game controllers to any number of devices. Universal serial buses are exactly what the name implies. They are universal. Most people are familiar with USBs and their applications, as most computers and devices cannot function without them. Nowadays, computers will be implemented with at least 2 USB ports, so that way you can plug in things like mice, which I've occasionally used USB ports as a way to connect to computers, or speakers. I personally use USB ports in essentially every device I have, from my phone to charging it, to my wireless headphones, which use USB ports to charge. And even my game consoles allow me to connect to the internet using a USB port to Ethernet adapter, which allows me to have a better experience playing video games over the internet. Now, we reach a more modern age of technology. Whereas previously mentioned, VGAs used to be the premier source of video transferring, but now HDMI, people will see their devices being connected visually. HDMI cables were invented in the year 2002 and essentially became the upgrade for VGA cables, as not only did they send over video at a higher quality, but also included audio, which means aux ports were still useful, but could be completely optional, as HDMI ports would send over video and audio. HDMI ports are commonly seen in devices like televisions, video game consoles, and projectors, as they now send over a higher quality of video and are essentially the default when it comes to sharing things to a bigger screen. And as time has gone on, wires and physical connections have become optional as well, as devices such as Bluetooth have become more common. Bluetooth connections are inventions that were created back in the year 1994. Bluetooth devices at first were used to connect different devices from different distances, but now, as time has progressed, Bluetooth has become almost unanimous, similar to USBs, where if you want to connect your device to another to do something like share audio, Bluetooth is able to do such a task. Bluetooth can also share files or connect other input devices to other devices that have output. The uses for Bluetooth continue to expand as time goes on, and as time goes on, hopefully I'll be able to report on more technology that changes the way that we live.